The most underestimated performance variable in your business is not even your strategy, nor your systems or your mindset. It's whether you are drinking enough water. Because dehydration doesn't feel like thirst. It feels like fatigue, brain fog, and a short fuse. Thank you for listening to Routine is Revenue. This is your place to build routines and bank results. I'm Ildikó Sealey, your performance strategist, because I've learned that the basics done consistently outperform the advanced strategies every single time. And hydration, let's face it, is as basic as it gets. So this episode is for you if you end most days with a headache that you cannot explain, or you have an energy dip that you are blaming on something else entirely, or if you are ready to address the simplest of performance lever first, then let's go. In this routine reset, we look at hydration, how consistent fluid intake directly affects your cognitive performance, your energy, your focus, your mood, and how building a simple daily ritual around it removes one of the most common and most overlooked drains on your output. So many people are chronically mildly dehydrated, not dangerously, but just enough to dar the edges. And the problem is that mild dehydration doesn't even feel like thirst. By the time you feel thirsty, you probably have a headache that arrives like clockwork mid-afternoon. You will have a dip in concentration that you attribute to the complexity of the task you are doing. How bad the slight irritability that you put down to stress, or maybe the fatigue that does not quite lift even after a coffee. Now, all of that can be down to hydration or the lack of it. And of course, I know this from experience too, because on the days when I'm out of the office and I don't get my usual 2 liters of fluid, I definitely feel the difference. And for me, it usually arrives as a headache. It is so specific in the front of my head that once I notice it, I know exactly what it is. But when you bear in mind that your brain is made up of 75% of water, when your hydration drops even slightly, then of course that cognitive function will drop with it. So it's almost obvious that your concentration will shorten, your decision making will slow, your mood will become less stable. And then, of course, all of this is happening in the background of every single conversation you conduct, every single decision you make, and every hour of work your business depends on you to deliver. So hydration does not require complicated systems. All it requires is a ritual that runs automatically. I hope you don't mind me sharing with you. Mine starts the moment I wake up, really. I have a glass of water with half a lime squeezed into it as soon as I get up. I even travel with my limes and my squeezer because it's a complete non-negotiable. I then drink water during my exercise routine. Then a little later, I have a cup of green tea during my morning meditation. And then finally, I have a glass of effervescent vitamin C with breakfast. And that's my fluid intake within the first 2 hours of the morning. Then throughout the day, I drink approximately 2 liters of what I call flavored water. Now, some would argue that you have to have water, but to me, it's a little bit boring. So I make up either herbal tea or fruit tea in the morning, top it up with cold water, and just drink it steadily across the whole day. But the key principle here is to front load your hydration. Don't wait until you are thirsty. Build the ritual into the parts of your day that already have shape. And the hydration, it will just follow the structure rather than relying on you to remember it. And as we already covered with nutrition in routine reset number 5, the body is the engine and the hydration is the coolant. So if you think about it, just like an engine, everything runs and grinds hotter and harder without the hydration, without the coolant. So just to recite something that happened to me recently, a couple of weeks ago, I went through a particularly full week, lots of time out of the house, lots of back-to-back things. I was actually away somewhere else. And of course, my hydration ritual fell apart. It wasn't dramatic. It was kind of incremental, but less of the morning routine here, skipping the afternoon tea there. By midweek, I found that I had a persistent low-grade headache. And I noticed that I was slightly shorter in conversation than I wanted to be, and my focus was consequently quite a bit sketchy. Or being busy and out of my usual environment. Initially, I was obviously looking elsewhere. But where would you look? I was trying to find an explanation and blaming it on stress and workload or sleeping in different rooms and different beds before I actually realized that I was just simply dehydrated. The conclusion is that the simplest of explanations is usually the right one. And the simplest fix is usually available within arm's reach, isn't it? So, what if hydration stays an afterthought in your day? Will you actually put up with the continuous headaches? Will you accept your afternoon dip as normal? Because over time, chronic mild dehydration doesn't just affect your performance, it affects your perception of your own capacity. So, what might feels like a false start to believe that you are less resilient or less sharp than you used to be, when actually you are just underfueled in the most basic possible ways. So bear in mind, you cannot think your way to better hydration. You can only drink your way there. So when do you build hydration into your day as a non-negotiable rather than an afterthought? This is one of the highest return, lowest effort changes available to you. It costs absolutely nothing and starts working the same day. What a bonus that is. So if this has made you think that your water intake is not where it should be, then your next step is simple. As you know, I'm leading the routine revolution by offering a complimentary routine audit conversation to 52 people. In this hour-long conversation, we look at your physical health pillar alongside the other core health pillars, including the basics that compound into your daily performance. All you need to do is visit routinerevolution.co.uk to register your interest. Now drink your water, then come back and do your best work. And remember, a healthier you makes a wealthier you.